Alan Ibanez and Dexter Hernandez were writers for Filipino broadcaster ABS-CBN when they met in 2014. Both made short films in college and knew they would eventually wanted to create feature films. They created First Sam and The Reliever and now the first BL, Stay. The first feature film by Philippine writer-directors Alan Ibanez and Dexter Hernandez. First Sam tells the story of the eldest son of a widow who sets off to study at a prestigious university in Manila, only to return home the next day. The son, 16-year-old Maru, played by newcomer Darwin Yu, tells his mother, Percy, Lolot de Leon, that he felt lonely and missed his family. First Sam has enjoyed great success, screening around the world and garnering several international and cinema accolades, including the Grand Jury Prize at the San Diego International Kids Film Festival, Special Jury Award at Festival Angelica, and the Best Debut Feature at the All Lights India International Film Festival, amongst several others. Stay is a 7-episode romantic comedy series that tackles various themes and issues, including migration, different types of love, and dealing with obstacles and discrimination in pursuit of one's dreams, amongst other. It was written, directed, and produced by Hernandez and Ibanez, who considered the series as the love letter to Filipino artists who continually make huge sacrifices to pursue their Hollywood dreams despite obstacles and hardships. You can now watch all 7 episodes on YouTube.
Lovely to see you, and just thankful that you give me the opportunity to have a little chat. I can see your t-shirt. It's really good, very cute. Very cute. And of course, when we're doing this interview, we just watched your episode 6 yesterday, last night. And so there's only one more to go, right?
Yeah, correct.
So yes, and I've obviously have seen your a little comment on your Instagram as well, your little feedback. So I guess the first question really is why are you doing this? why are you doing this? This is so hard. This is not an easy thing for you. Why are you doing this?
Because we're crazy.
We're asking the same question to ourselves.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this?
So basically, I think the question is, an artist will always be an artist, no matter how hard it is. And, we love challenges, and we embrace everything that comes with producing. But of course, we're doing this because first, we're storytellers, and we love to tell stories. And this is a very, very special story for us because it's a story of a Filipino immigrant in LA. And this is something that we have developed and cultivated through the years of our experience here as immigrants in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're doing this because we want our experiences as Filipino immigrants, as Asian immigrants to be told. And so we want to express that and hopefully connect to an audience as well. That these are our stories, but at the same time you can find yourself in this.
Yeah. And I guess, I assume it's correct to say that, the story is part of you, and there's part of you in that story as well. How does it feel when you see your story being told, like actually on screen? I know you write, I know you produce it, but to see it, being come to life, acted by some other people, how does it feel for you?
It's always, the funny thing is, after the release of the episode, every Saturday here in LA at 6 p.m. And then after the release, it's like we're so drained and it's emotional. It's like a part of us, a part of our heart and soul. is there, is out there, and it's always been very like we're always very emotional after the release of the episodes because the story is very personal for us, and
Mm.
it's also because we gave so much to this project.
Yeah.
You know, um, that's why when we release the episode every Saturday, we go out of our apartment because we don't want to stay here. It's like giving a piece of yourself to the audience, and it's always like that. Um,
Yeah. So it's a complicated feeling.
yeah,
First of all, I think it feels good that you were able to create something and put out there and for people to see and watch and hopefully appreciate.
mhm.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
you you see negative feedback on your work and
Yeah.
all of that. So it's a complicated process. It's a complicated emotion to have. But overall, we're just focusing on the appreciation that we're getting from the viewers that we currently have, and we're thankful that people are resonating to the stories.
And majority of the viewers of Stay, they are able to relate to the story,
Yeah.
and they say that it's very real, and it feels like home, and it happened to them. They can relate to the story, to the characters. So we're very happy with that.
And they're also very involved
Okay.
with the characters, with their decisions, even if sometimes it's not a decision that they will personally make or that they will personally do. Like they understand, or they react. They
Yeah.
they respond to the choices that the characters make.
Yeah, because I imagine it being difficult in a few ways because one is it is your story that you're telling, and especially if you get negative feedback about your own story and experience, it's difficult. But of course, it's also your baby that you've created. It's
Yes.
it's extra emotional when if you get anything.
I
Yeah.
know. In fact, I always cry after the release of every episode, and I'm really highly emotional after, especially during the the first three episodes, but during the latter episodes, I'm able to adjust, but it's still there. It's still
Yeah.
it feels different.
It's like having a baby and you cannot protect it
Yeah.
anymore because it's in the world already.
So of all the platforms though, you've chose to use YouTube, and I think people have a misunderstanding sometimes that if you put it on YouTube, you make money from it. Why YouTube though, of all the platforms? Why YouTube? Or have you not thought about other platform, or you think about other ways you can perhaps, showcase your story?
Well, to be very honest, we tried selling Stay to some platforms that we know are like showcasing Boys Love or the content like this, but we weren't successful. I don't know why they don't like it or why they are not eager to put it on their platforms. But yeah, maybe because we were not as steamy as other, you know.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of factors. It's not up to us to decide or to force them to, hey, put this into your platform, but we approached some streaming platforms, and
We were not successful.
Right.
they did,
And yeah.
they were not so hot with Stay, and we have to accept it. And then we decided to release it on YouTube because it's a worldwide audience, and we can reach as wide audience as possible. Maybe we can pick up more viewership in the coming months, hopefully. So it's very accessible, and we really want to share Stay to as many viewers as possible.
And it's amazing range of subtitles you put on the clip, because no one else does that amount of subtitles that like you do. So that's pretty impressive, actually.
Thank you. Yeah, it's hard to go to do it like week by week for the past weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like yesterday, we were supposed to have this interview.
yeah.
I told you, oh my God, we still have like 17 subtitles left.
It's okay.
So we cannot do the interview.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. Of course, I mean, there are a lot of boys' love stories out there now. It's become much more popular, and we also know there's quite a few Filipino ones that are created in the Philippines. Do you think, or do you see yours one slightly different, or if so, how different it is? The story is. I mean, of course, I know everyone in TikToks mentioned this too. It's in English. It was the first time we feel like we don't need subtitles because most of the content dialogue is in English. But yeah, do you feel like there's a what difference between the one that you do compared to the other Filipino ones that that's up there as well? And yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, I feel like, first of all, as artists, we want to present something that is different. And, it's our responsibility to present a new story or a new way to tell a story. And I feel like Stay is definitely something different from what the viewers are usually accustomed to. First of all, we have a very, very flawed lead character, and you either hate him, like him, or understand him.
Yeah.
So that's the first.
Or you blame him for his actions.
Yeah. So
And it's not very often that we see a lead character, a Prince Charming, commit a mistake after a mistake after a mistake. It's like, it's very, he's very flawed, just like what Alan said. And of course, this is an immigrant story. This is a story of two people coming from different countries. They have different backgrounds. One is Filipino, one is Korean American. So that alone is really different from most of the boys' love series that we know, even not only in the Philippines, even in other countries. So it's there's a culture clash. There's always a misunderstanding. There's a loss in translation. There's a lot of loss in translation moments because they have different language. They have different culture, different nationality, different race, and it's like those are the basic differences that we have from other boys' love series.
Yeah, and what comes with that, the first thesis of the show is having two people with different cultures and different backgrounds. So it comes with that also is discussions of like race, and we've also shown that in the show. Like we discussed racism. We discussed scamming, fraud in Hollywood. We're discussing green card marriage. So are the themes that we're discussing in the show, and some people will not be comfortable with that, but these are the issues and realities that is being experienced by a lot of
Immigrants.
Filipinos, a lot of immigrants. So these are legitimate and valid experiences.
And those topics are not oftenly discussed on many series, not only on boys' love series, but in other series in general. But yeah, once you're an immigrant, you can relate why Andre is so desperate to have papers, even to the point of like maybe offending Joshua, things like that. So because it's an entirely different world when you're a foreigner, and it's an entirely different experience when you're a tourist or
Yeah.
an outsider in a country like the United States.
Yeah, and of course there is that general feeling for a lot of people, like if you go to America, you get everything, right? I mean, it's like America is like the dream place for a lot of immigrants to go to. That's the the land, freedom and have everything, and so people have that dream to go there, only to experience. Like the obstacle that you mentioned. It's not just a BL series; it's just a general migrant story. Yeah.
Yes.
And I know because you mentioned this at the beginning when someone, I think in one of your social media posts, mentioned that some people got quite offended about the racist comments. And then of course I did share something quite painful to watch, but it's the constant, if you're Asian, you get asked to go back to China, or you're all Chinese, or and that constant rhetoric. And even for myself here in New Zealand, we have the same thing. So it's a global experience for Asian living in the Western country. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad that we are experiencing these things. We're experiencing racism, but at the same time, we feel like we need to be represented, and we need our stories to be told and to be heard.
There are still people that debate, that the origin of Yaoi and BL was obviously a straight cis woman fantasy of two men, and so that eroticism and fantasy.
Yeah. Mhm.
Whereas your LGBT one may be more sort of, I guess for them it's more intellectual, in-depth, and talk about real issues of the LGBTQ community. Yeah.
So it evolves over time. I think even before, when there's no Netflix and there's no YouTube, we only thought of contents like in television, like in the traditional television. But now there's a lot of ways to watch content. You can watch it on YouTube, TikTok, and you have like, and even like how films are done, it has evolved over time. So these things, this content, because it's art, it's continuously growing. It's not that's like what Alan said, you're not supposed to be boxed on a very a specific genre. If you're not this, then you're not that, or vice versa. So
Or the rules, like if there are rules of creating a boys love genre, then
that you have to follow.
it's a dead then it's gonna be a dead genre. It's
Yeah.
it's about breaking the rules and doing something different.
Yeah. And so I guess the question is, why BL for you? So as we said earlier, this story could be about anybody, who, that are Asian immigrants. But why did you create a BL? Why is it a BL story then?
Yeah, because we conceptualized this story during the time when we were locked down. There was here in everywhere around the world, and we were watching Hello Stranger from the Philippines, and like in the movies, it's also from the Philippines, and Game Boys, also of course Together, the series from Thailand, and that's where we thought of why not create a BL where it's about an immigrant story, and its setting is in Los Angeles. So that's really our inspiration. And so over time, we are very aware that we are creating a boys' love story, since our inspiration are from those series.
Yeah. Since inception, we already like intentional about creating a.
So I can see you've got some awards in the back. So have you always been a storyteller? And is this your first? How many other production have you done?
Yeah, when we before we migrated here to the United States, we were like script writers in
Right.
the Philippines for in the biggest television,
Network in the
Ah, yeah.
Philippines.
ABS-CBN.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then we wrote for soap operas there. We're soap opera
Okay, yeah.
writers. So usually it's like Monday to Friday. So it's a daily show and it's really very it demands a lot of your time and so there and then after that we created our first feature film which won a lot of awards in Europe, North America, and in Asia. And its title is First Semester. It's an independent film. We also directed, wrote, and produced it. And our lead actress is also the mother of Andre,
Ah,
and she won several awards in that film. So it's really very fun to work with her, and she's really very easy to work with. And
Yeah. And then we've done a couple of short films when we came here
yeah,
before finally deciding to try
a series.
to create a series.
and is this your first BL or LGBT series or show?
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, it's the
Mhm.
first. Even before, we haven't done any LGBT
Content.
content.
A boys love show.
Have you got what's the plan? What's your next step after stay? What do you want to do? What after stay is up there on YouTube and it comes to an end next week. What happens?
Oh, we will
Cry a
get
little.
some sleep. We will try to get some sleep.
Refresh.
Refresh. It's really been like we did stay for more than 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
And we really want to start immediately with the next series. We're planning to do another BL or queer
Okay.
series, and it also involves Asians and
Yeah.
maybe combination of Asian Americans but we are very excited to launch our crowdfunding for that for our next series because since we weren't successful to stay in various streaming platforms, we had a lot of setbacks, and the only option for us to be able to create another series is through launching our crowdfunding for the next series. So hopefully the people who love Stay, our viewers, will support us in our next endeavor. But if not, then maybe it will take longer time for us to create another one since we lost a lot of
Yeah,
Since
yeah.
we're trying to recover from the
Yeah.
expenses from stay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it depends on the support that we'll get from the audience, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're thankful that a lot of viewers are voicing out their support for our next projects, and then they're telling us that whatever we can do to help you guys, we will help you since you've created something that's really
Resonating with them.
The thing that you brought up in that story is very valid. Like you said, we now got to the story about green card and being able to stay in America. And how many people have been through exactly that? Or this may be love, but so some people are getting married because they just wanted to stay and not for love, so.
and of course, for you to be able to stay with your love in the US, you have to get papers.
Yeah.
That's what people don't understand. That it doesn't mean that it's just another negotiation or transactional love. Of course,
There's another
there's
layer.
practicality. You need to be practical because you cannot live by love alone, but you don't have papers and all things like that. So, but we also understand those that cannot relate to it because they want it to be very romantic
Yeah.
and not a transactional type of love or proposal. So these are very healthy conversations that we appreciate to hear from our viewers, and we're happy that everyone is engaged and everyone is affected and they have different opinions, because with different opinions, you can see that
We're
we
gonna start the discussion.
yeah because if we all agree to to something, then there's no diversity, there's no like
Variety of
variety.
opinions,
Mhm,
and it gives us more things to talk about our experiences as well.
mhm.
Yeah.
Because it depends on how you view a content. Like stay is it depends on your experiences in life. Some
Mm.
people are really strongly relate to it, but others may find it like unrealistic,
Yeah.
and it depends on their experience. But other people, they just find it like very entertaining and very funny, and to a lot of chemistry between the lead actors. So that's also a great thing for creators like us.
Yeah. Also, like he didn't have a reason, like our character didn't have a reason to stay in LA in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's because he met someone in his stay in LA that he started to think about getting a paper and getting this thing. So he didn't like plan for it. He has he has a promising career back in the Philippines. It's just that he got scammed here, and then he met Joshua, and he likes Joshua. He wants to be with Joshua. That's why he's starting to think about these things. Otherwise, he's just gonna go home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is supposed to happen in just 2 weeks' time as well, isn't it? The whole story
Yeah.
is 2 weeks
Yeah.
of them being, sort of, yeah, let's see how this is gonna work out. And then he was
And
supposed to.
we really like the one of the YouTube commenters that say that she said, love is like it happens like a lightning. It's
Yeah.
very fast, and it happens on the most unexpected moment, at the most in the most unexpected places. So it's not a matter of how long or how short, but once you feel it, it's there.
Yeah.
So mhm.
Yeah, no, but it just happens in the 2 weeks' time. He came here, got scammed, and then next minute he fell in love and he's gonna get married.
Yeah.
Hard.
I mean, it is very cute. And I said, I think, I think it's a good balance of just cute fluffiness in that story, but of course you've got some really good discussion, in there as well. Talking about making a living. You come to a new country, you got scammed, but then you got to make a living as well. And how do you support yourself? And then now, he said he's lost all mom's money and what to do about it, kind of. So some very real trauma that the two characters actually have to go through. And then you've got Joshua talking about, or the sister talking about, him coming out and the family sort of kind of not talking to each other anymore, kind of conversation. Is very, very real, while all the fluffiness is also happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Excited about what's your next project. Actually, I know you can't say too much yet, but have you other plans for stay once it's finished at next week? Have you got any other plans for this work?
For stay,
Hmm.
currently, we are really focused on the next series that we want to create. For stay, we are really very happy that we are able to finish it with a very limited resources that we had. And we are happy with the reception in general. Majority of our viewers really love the story. And yeah, but for if you're asking for sequel, we're still very open to it for sequel, but right now it's a little improbable because our actors, they're United States is really a big country, and
Yeah.
it's like flying an actor from Korea and another actor from China and then another actor from Thailand, and then you're filming in the Philippines. So it's like that because
Yeah.
we're all from different states. Sebastian is from Atlanta. Alice is from New York. Bombalicious is from Maryland. So, and they went they all came here to LA for 2 weeks to finish the filming. So it's really very a little expensive on our part as a small studio, as a small production. So
And also, um, it was quite tiring as well to like
Yeah.
just do everything in that limited time span.
mhm.
So yeah,
But we're very open if someone really, I mean, if a platform picks it up and wants to do another season, we're very open. We love these characters. We created these characters for a long time, and we invested a lot of money and emotions and blood and sweat into this project. So we're still very open, but of course, it always involves financial
Yeah.
aspect. And for Stay, we really lost a lot of money
Mm.
because, yeah, as I said, we weren't able to sell it. We distributed it on YouTube, but YouTube revenue is like just like a day
Yeah.
of work only for an episode. So it's really very small revenue. And yeah, so we will try to create another series that hopefully will not be as expensive as Stay, but still very heartfelt and still um, will be relatable and will resonate to our audience who love Stay.
Yeah.
That's our really intention, to create something very relatable and very heartfelt. That's what we like to do in Team Campy Entertainment. That's our branding.
Yeah. And you call yourself Team Campy. Why? Why? Team Campy.
Because it's always over the top. Yeah.
when we discuss things like we always say, "Oh, that's campy."
Yeah.
That's
It's an expression. It's too campy, or it's like
uh,
and but our content is very real. So and one more thing is that we call our viewers teen campers because
Yeah.
they have camping like for hours and hours before the premiere. And it's like, oh, it's 2 a.m. and I have to wait 2 more hours here. And then
yeah,
we're telling them, no, guys, you don't need to camp because it's still in YouTube the
tomorrow.
following day. You don't need to camp out. But they said, oh, I will miss the live chat, and I will miss the if I sleep and I miss the premiere, I will miss all the things happening in the live chat. So they are our, as we call them, they're our campers, our team campers. So
Yes.
it just makes sense that it's Team Campy.
Yeah.
And if we want to be the first one to watch it as well, of course, so they
Yeah.
can start talking about it and and
Yeah.
tell people about it.
And for a small YouTube channel, who we really started from nothing, and now we have like 20,000 subscribers. And for our live premieres, there's thousands of people watching. So we're really very happy that they are really from different parts of the world. They're waking up in their local time, or maybe staying late just to watch the premiere, even though the content will be there
The next day.
the next day or next week or even
Yeah.
until next year.
That's so touching. Yeah.
That's really very and we look forward to seeing them every week, and we will miss all of our viewers once all of this is over, because we live for those reactions during, especially for example, like yesterday, it was really a roller coaster uh emotions for like they're laughing because of the miscommunication and the assumption of Joshua. but and then
They
the
were
next
crying
they
with
were
the mother,
So it's
and then they feel frustrated with some of them with the proposal.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of roller coaster of emotions.
so for creators like us, it's really like watching in the cinema, and you feel the reactions of the audience
Ah,
live while you're watching, and we always look forward to that um because those are the moments that, oh, we did something right, and we know that they were enjoying and they were affected, and we are all watching to get it together for the first time. So it's really something that we look forward to every week.
it's like being in a theater, isn't it? Like you said, that the beauty of being in a theater is you can get the immediate reaction from
Yeah.
the audiences and not process. Then you go, oh, okay, this is what works or what didn't work, or oh, this is, they got what I was trying to say to them.
Yeah. And it's like some of the team campers are actually there to chat with the group. Like it's
Oh,
a
nice.
group
There's a community.
experience. It's
Yeah.
it's exciting to like watch it with the group, and all of you are reacting to it, and yeah, it's fun.
Some people do a binge watch, so you might
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
them later after next week, and they're just going to binge watch the whole series, and then some like to be the first one to watch them. So I'm sure you're going to get some watcher going to come back with some, feedback about how they think.
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, we're very thankful to you for having us here,
Yes. Thank you,
and
New Zealand.
thank you.
Yes, of course. The
Indeed.
question I didn't ask, and I ask everybody is: have you been to New Zealand, Australia? And if not, would you like to come here one day?
Of course, we love to create a series there.
Yay!
That would be fun.
Because we were thinking before, what if we do stay and every season is like in a different city? Uh,
Yeah.
so it's like the American Horror Story, or like where every season there's different story, or like the history of Taiwan, the history BL
Oh, yeah.
series of Taiwan. Every season there's a different history. So with the stay, maybe we can do one in
Stay
LA,
LA, stay Auckland, stay Sydney.
stay Hawaii, or stay New Zealand,
Yeah,
or stay Brazil.
yeah.
So it's gonna be
That'd be
fun
interesting.
because there's different experiences for immigrants in different cities.
Yeah, and also like tourists also like that would be an interesting thing to tackle as well.
Mm.
Like tourists falling in love with locals.
Yeah, yeah.
Knowing that you're just there for a short period of time, there's really
Yeah, there's an emotional
a hook already.
yeah.
There's that there's already pain, and there's already excitement, and
There's drama.
the thrill of
There'll be drama,
falling
yeah.
in love with a stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of ingredients are there.
So we are
Yeah.
just very thankful to you guys. Thank you
Alright.
for having us,
And also we would like to thank all our viewers for supporting Stay. And it's not been easy for us to create this, but we're thankful that it has found its audience.
Mhm.
I think Stay is not for everyone,
Mhm.
but it counts when there are people who actually genuinely connect to the story,
Mhm.
because Stay is also very very edgy.
Yeah, it's
Like-
it's an unconventional love story. It's not your typical love story, and people are used to watching those shows where they kind of expect what will happen, and
Romanticized.
Yeah.
Like this is a romance, but it doesn't romanticize romance.
Yeah.
It's like there's still like truthfulness to it. Like there are things that you wouldn't expect out of a processed storytelling, where like the characters are flawless. They can't make mistakes. They can't, you know, like we should just feel like there's some kind of injustice being done to them every time, but the decisions are not coming necessarily from them. So this one, all their mistakes, all their decisions are coming from them,
from
So,
their weaknesses
from their
and from
weaknesses,
their personalities.
from their flaws.
Mhm.
And I think that's what makes it interesting. And
Edgy.
some people can find that beautiful. Some people will not accept the flaws,
Mhm.
will not accept characters who are flawed. So it's interesting, it's interesting what we built in terms of audienceship in
Yeah.
this show. So and we're proud that there are people who embrace and accepted this series.
Mhm. It's always risky to try and bring out something new because the traditional audience might not like it and they're the general audience, but it's also fulfilling to be able to connect with a very passionate audience, a very engaging, to engage them into our kind of storytelling. And as I say earlier, this is just the beginning, and we will create more characters like Andre and Joshua in the future, and we will create more series like Stay. And we are not we are not really sorry for what we have done. We are really very proud of it, and we, as they say, we cannot please everybody, but for everyone who supports this kind of storytelling, we will embrace yourselves because we will be offering you more stay, quote unquote, in
Yay!
the
Yay! No, it's lovely. I think, yeah, it's just lovely to see a story that we can connect. It's lovely to see that, the characters are not perfect, because none of us are, and it's really nice to see, yeah, the character grow in a very short time, 2 weeks time in the world, and 7 weeks for us. But it's a short time where you can see the character grows and change. It's been very,
Yeah.
yeah.
And sometimes it's not growing. Sometimes they also fall
Yeah.
flat on the
Yeah.
surface. Yeah.
But
and
it's that how learning, to be.
Yeah.
Mhm. And the message that we want to convey, it's to the audience, to our viewers, the themes, the lessons, and the realizations of the characters in the importance of love, life, letting go, forgiveness. Those are more important to us than anything else.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for today. I mean, yeah, it's been really lovely talking to you. And as I said, I've been on one or two of your TikTok live chats and watching people, giving you comments as well. And then talk about the show. And yeah, it's going to come to an end next week, which is gonna
Oh.
be a bit sad for everybody, but then again, excited to see what's next as well, coming from Team Campy. So yeah,
Thank you.
Yay! Thank you.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, and we'll love to have you here in New Zealand or Australia. And please let us know if you ever come. And yeah, we'd love to have you here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you so
B.
much, B.
That's all right. It's
Thank
been
you.
really
Thanks,
nice
B.
talking to you.
You too. Thank you very much. And see you. See you
See
soon.
you. Thank you. But
The label is like there's really no strict rule about the label. I think some people ask us if is this really a BL, or this is a queer story, or this is like an LGBT story. But for us, we just want to present a story that is close to like a BL story, BL series. But if people will label Stay as a queer story or as an LGBTQ story, and then we're also very happy with that, because there's a very thin line that defines the difference between all of them. But in reality, it's just a boy falling in love with another boy, or a gay falling in love with another gay. So
And I think that the genres are
it's a wide spectrum.
there's not like a box for
Yeah.
something like this is just a boys love show, or this is just a comedy.
Uh,
Or I think stay there's a couple of genres that we've utilized to tell this story, and also like genres can grow,
Evolve.
can evolve, and it's just not one thing. And so far we haven't heard anyone telling that Stay is not a boys love show. I think the audience is accepting it as a boys love.
mhm.
Yeah.